Yo, what's up with it? This your boy Noonie, and it's Leo in the third house. Back with another reading. This is gonna be another pick a card reading. Gonna be asking a question: how will you be known, or what will you be known for? Let's make it like that. What will you be known for? You know, so when people speak about you at the end, what will you be known for? That's what I want to know. That'd be a good one. I've seen it on the timeline a couple times, and so I said that'd be a good one. Let's see if that's fun. Let's see how that play out. So got four piles here. We're gonna be seeing about itching. We're gonna be seeing what you would be known for. All right. As always, thanks to the people who be liking, sharing, subscribing. Yeah, new subbies, old subbies. Hey man, thanks to all those people who was just checking on me, making sure I'm all right. I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. I appreciate very much for caring. I don't think I got too much. I don't have no announcements today. I just been on the move, on the go. I'm feeling good, energetic. See that shoulder? See them shoulder shrugs? Feeling it. All right, so boom. We got pile one right here with this. This is a Coca-Cola mixed with coffee. I thought that was kind of dope. You know what I mean? I never had it. It's been sitting in my refrigerator, but somebody gave it to me as a gift. And I'm a Capricorn, so I hoard stuff for some reason. I don't know. I'm learning to get rid of things. So I might drink it today, or I might give it away. I got tomato paste. I love that. Good old tomato paste. Use that for stews and chilies and good stuff like that. Spaghettis. I got this pepper grinder. This is a peppercorn medley. All right. And then I got this good old Rotel diced tomatoes. This is my shit. I like mixing that. I'll be making this queso dip with that. Heat. All right. So pick your pile. It'll be pile one, pile two, pile three, pile four. So pick your pile. And we get started over here with pile one. Whoa. Dang, it's taking me a while. Boom, pile one. So, pile one. What will you be known for? Okay. So you might be you'll for sure be a truth seeker, but you may be like someone who fights injustices, someone who balances out the scales. Because the first card out was to be fair, which is in reverse. So you could be, two things could be showing up here. You could be as a person who's vindictive, be known as a person who's vindictive, who is a bit selfish or isn't quite giving to others. Or, because there's more than one way to be read with these two cards, you could be a person who fixes rights and wrong, like who fixes wrongs in terms of injustices. You're a person who combats injustices. So you could be like a lawyer, a judge, a public defender, a prosecutor. You know what I mean? You could be something like that. You could be, you could be working with a society or community or what's it called, or organization that helps prison offenders or something like that. You're a person who fixes the rights and the wrongs. Like you're a person who knows how to make best or make good on their past wrongs, and you're a person who knows how to fix past wrongs that have been done to others. So you'll be known as that type of person. You'll be known as an expansive, as an expansive type of traveling person, maybe a connoisseur of things, a person who's known for having the finer things or enjoying the finer things in life. So let's go over the signs real quick. You could be a Leo, Aquarius, could be a Sagittarius, could be a Scorpio, could be an Aquarius, could be a Libra, could be a Scorpio again, okay? Those are the signs I got. And you could be an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, because I got that here as well. But you'll definitely be known as a person who's very expansive, a person who has a lot of high ideas, who's very optimistic, someone who's very much a truth speaker, someone who is a broad thinker and a broad communicator. You could be a communicator, a person who's very attractive, They'll definitely speak about you as being a person who understands the esoteric knowledge, because we have building atoms here, which is about understanding how everything is aligned together, and also not staying stuck in conventional ways of thinking. So they'll see you as a person who didn't stay stuck in convention. Oh yeah, definitely, because we got step outside your comfort zone here. So you're definitely with a person who didn't stick to conventional thinking or conventional routines. You were a person who pretty much blazed your own path, very stubborn. They might even consider you as a person who's a bit possessive, maybe a little bit selfish, maybe even a little bit deceitful. You might be known as a person who's a little bit crafty. All right. But you would be also known as a person who's very successful, a person who delves into a lot of new experiences, who's always having new opportunities. You'll be a person who's, because we got 3 of Cups. So there's also be a person who's trustworthy. So even if you're a bit sneaky, or, well, this isn't about sneaky. Sword isn't about sneaky. Sword is usually about retaliation sometimes. So it can be about making past wrongs right, or it could be about retaliation. And so it's in that energy of that. But if you'll still be known as a person who's a 3 of Cups, a trustworthy, enjoyable person, a person who people can experience some level of camaraderie or emotional vulnerability with while enjoying themselves. You'd also be known as a person who is very confident, very witty, very straight to the point, pretty much. Very passionate, very attractive, because we got Queen of Wands. So you'd be a person who's very attractive and very secure within themselves, because we have the Ace of Coins. So you'd also be a person who initiates their own beginnings. All right. Excuse me. Woo. You would be a person who you would be known as a person who pretty much lives every day as if it's a new day. You would be known as a person who was like protected, shielded spiritually, and a person who was very at ease with life, who had a lot of personal power, who had a lot of clarity and a lot of intuition, who basically trusted in their third eye. He was a person who trusted in how you seen the world and your perception of the world, and trusted in yourself to make the needed necessary steps. You were optimistic, you'd be bold, you're confident, you're secure in yourself, you're a first starter, you're trustworthy, you're emotionally open and available to people, you're very successful, very experienced, highly traveled. You'd be known as, like I said, a person who can kind of sniff out deceit, because Sword can also be being aware of that as well, but usually wanting to get payback. So you'd be a person who sniffs out deceit, you know what I mean? And a person who's not afraid to get outside of their comfort zone. All right, you're a person who is just more so very much at ease with life, very strong. You might be physically strong. You're a person who sees clearly. You have good energetic boundaries, or you have good boundaries with people. People would know you as having very healthy boundaries. Because the world sometimes gives me an indication of boundaries. Because of that little circle around it. So you'd have an indication of boundaries here. They would also you would be known also as a reliable person, a person who has a lot of creature comforts or a lot of life's pleasures, because that's Taurus energy. Right. Yeah. You might have been maybe a masseuse, or you did something with massaging with people, something like doing something with people's bodies, maybe a tattoo artist, because this looks like, what I mean? Maybe you'd be known as an artist. Could be known as a banker, or someone who has money, because I'm looking at the Ace of Coins. So you could be a person who has money, or has been known to have money, known to have abundance, because this Taurus energy is showing up. So you're known as a person who has luxuries or has the finer things. You'd be known as that type of person. But because I see Taurus energy here too, and Scorpio energy, I would definitely see you as a person who is very controlling. So you would probably be known as a person who's a bit controlling or dominant of their space or of their things, and that's probably where that unfair is, because that's that selfish energy that was the first card out. So you could be a bit selfish, or a bit, thinking of yourself first, which I don't really see too much of a big issue with that, but there are times when we can go overboard. So that might be what people would probably know you as, maybe a person who goes overboard with being a bit self-indulgent. You're a person who you would be known as a person who doesn't see themselves as, okay, so you're not a person who sees themselves better than others. You're a person who sees yourself in other people. So you'd be known as a person who sees themselves as everyone's equal and everyone's equal to them. All right. But you'd definitely be as a person who went towards their north node or went towards their destiny, got outside of what they've always known as their comfort zone, and figured out how everything is connected, mainly from the inner world to the outer world. That's how you would be, that's what you would be known for, all right? You'd be known as a person who sees through illusions. That was the first cards that came out, the sword. And to be fair, you'd be known as a person who sees through illusions, all right? Who has a higher perspective over all these things. Yeah. So, pile 2, pile 2, pile 1. That was your reading. Thanks for watching. This your boy Noonie, and it's Leo in the third house. Boom, pile 2. So, pile 2. What will you be known for? Okay. Boop. 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 And boop. Okay, so you might be known as a very secretive person, because I see a lot of black, and you have 8th house mystery, but you'd be as a person who's very comfortable alone, a person who trusts in their instincts. You'd be also known as a person who's very prideful, very egoic. You could be a Aries, you could be a Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, you could be a Virgo. And these are the signs I got. Didn't I say Scorpio? Yeah, you could be a Scorpio. But you'd be known as a person who deals with conflict, or who suppresses a lot of emotions, suppresses a lot of feelings. But they do have you, they would know you also as a person. So, okay. So they would know you as a person who eliminates a lot of secrets, a person who naturally knows what secrets are around, like follows their instincts into digging out secrets. You'd be a person who's very comfortable with wherever you are at whatever time you are. It's like you're at peace with yourself. You're very open. But I get it more so as you're a person who deals with the present. You don't dwell on the past. You don't dwell on the future. You're just a person who goes with the flow, goes with the current flow of life, and just trusts in their instincts to lead them to where they need to be. You also have you as a person of work. So something in your work is expansive. You'd be known with something that you do in work that's very expansive. Could do with health, could do with service to other people, or you'd be known by your colleagues as being very expansive, moving towards moving towards like a higher purpose, having a higher calling. All right, you'd be known as a leader. You'd be known as a person who's a bit bossy, a bit judgmental, and a bit conceited with the 6 of Wands. You'd also be known as a person who could sometimes be a bit lazy or doesn't really pay attention to the finer details. Now, Virgo is a sign of paying attention to the finer details. So if you're not a person, if you're a person who pays attention to the finer details, then in this case, it would be in a sense of you being a person who is a self-sabotager, where sometimes you're too nitpicky about the finer details, and it stops you from moving forward or stops you from putting effort into things, because it's also right next to the Page of Pentacles. So this, Page of Pentacles upright too. So it could be like, sometimes you get brand new beginnings without doing anything, without starting, or without having to put the work in. That could also be part of it, because you have it right next to instinct. The instinct is right next to the Page of Pentacles, which for me is a brand new beginning in the physical form. Sometimes it's actually putting the first step or making the first move. So you'd be a person who knows how to make the first step or make the first move with minimal efforts. You'd be that type of person, very conceited. Gets a lot of attention, a lot of admirers, very pushy, very judgy, a bit bossy, very controlling is how they would come off with, I'm just telling you what's up here. That you would be a person who has you'd be known as a person who has a lot of deep emotions but don't really share them, or hasn't, or wouldn't really share them, or won't really share them. You'd be known as a person who is torn between doing what they think is the right thing to do, or what they consider what they want to do. So like whatever you'd want to do, you may consider it, you may suppress yourself from doing it because you believe that it's not the right thing to do, or that other people will judge you for it. or that other people will say things about you behind your back about it, but you still be considered as a person who takes action, a person who's independent, a person who's a self-starter. You would be also known as a person who has a lot of potential, who starts off a lot of situations with a lot of potential, or sees potential in a lot of things where others might have not wanted to put the effort or the time into. All right. You would also be known as a person who's very prideful, who has a lot of personal power, because I'm seeing this yellow here, a lot of yellow, who has a lot of personal power and a lot of creative energy, as well as a very strong intuition, because we have blue, we have blue, we have blue, and this is like bluish, you know what I mean? So, but in here, I'm seeing the blue here too. So there's a little bit of blue here. This has all the colors as well, though. This has most of the chakra colors, not all, but most of them. So you'd be like a very intuitive person, a person who gets a lot of psychic downloads. You'd be known as a person who has a lot of intuition, just very strong intuition and very strong intuitive nudges. Like you follow your instincts. You don't second guess yourself. You'd be known as a person who doesn't second guess themselves, but who is always comfortable. I want to say alone, or is always comfortable in their present here and now. So wherever you are and with whatever you're doing, you're comfortable doing that. All right. You'd also be a person who dealt a lot with routine. You'd be known as a person who would go to routines, or a person who was very healthy, or who stayed up on their health. You'd be known as a person who is very motivated. You might have been, to some people, you might have been known as a person who wasn't always quite sure where they wanted to start. That's probably with this page energy. Sometimes pages aren't quite sure where to put their resources or where they're putting their energy and their time. And that could be that sometimes. That could be that with this Eight of Pentacles, putting your resources in the wrong places, and not paying attention to the finer details. But they would also know you, like I said, as a person that takes action, because that's like on the other side of the spectrum. So some people would know you as a person who takes action, and some people would know you as a person who just doesn't know where to start, seeming a bit scatterbrained. All right. But they do see you as a person who always makes things happen. So you would be known as a person who, no matter what, always makes things happen. Now, they will also see you as a person who maybe uses a lot of other people's resources, or they would see you as a person who's very transformative, very sexual, very dark, very alluring, very mysterious. And with this Queen of Wands and with this this 8th house here and this Scorpio energy, this gives me that it gives me that energy of like it's very passionate, but it's like a smoldering hidden sexuality to you. So there would be like there'd be maybe people would know you for your sexuality or for your sex or something of that, because it's got self-expression right next to mystery in the 8th house, which is like sex. Scorpio energy is sex to me, or obsession, possession, taboos, things of that sort. And that'd be with expression and the sun next to it, that'd be illuminating this type of energy. So you're that type of person maybe that's called to the darker side of human life. Maybe you've illuminated the darker side of human life, or maybe you will be known for doing that. All right, like illuminating the darker aspects of life that we've usually kept hidden, or that have appeared a mystery to us for a very long time. And maybe that's your work, because it's all connected here with work and expansion and north, which is your north node in this deck. But they would also know you as a person who's dealt with a lot of stress, had a lot of stress in their life, and usually would have a lot of problems expressing the emotions that you were feeling deeply about that stress. That's what you would be mostly known for. And really, just like I said, mostly they would know you for doing what you feel that was the right thing, and not really what you wanted to do. People would remember you as that type of person where mostly you would do what you wanted to do, what other people expected you to do, as opposed to what it was that you wanted to do. But either way the case, when it was time for you to make a move for you, you would follow your instincts. And if you at most times, because in the beginning you would start off as just being patient with wherever you are, like comfortable. So you could go both ways, and that's probably why, and that's probably why you would be worried about doing the right thing, because for you, either which way it went, you knew how to handle it, or you were okay with it. You were just going to follow your instincts to make the best of that situation. So you'd be known probably both ways as a person who's okay with however it comes. You're just going to follow your instincts to get things done. You could come off a bit nitpicky, a bit critical, a bit judgy, and a bit conceited, or a bit too overzealous or oversure about yourself. and your abilities. But, in the end, you'd be more remembered as a motivator, as someone who's very motivating or someone who's very inspiring. All right. So, pile 2. That was your reading. Thanks for watching. This your boy Noonie, and this Leo in the 3rd house. Boom. Pile 3. So, pile 3. What will you be known for? Making the most of your time. Using your creative talents and abilities to help others. Oh, we got cross-pollinate back up again. Okay, so this is about sharing ideas, being open to new ideas, basically like sharing sources, sharing beliefs, being open-minded, exploratory skills. This is who you would be, very expansive. They would know you. They would be known as a person who is very enlightened. Some people might remember you as a person who might have felt like you weren't enough. So you could be a Gemini. I have a Gemini. You could be an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and that's what I got. Yeah, those are the only signs I got. You don't have to be, but you could be. All right. But they will also remember you as a person who's very self-critical of themselves and others. Yet, you had a lot of great potential. You used a lot of creative abilities and your intellectual wits to help a lot of other people. You could be as a person they would seem as very intellectually slick or had to keep their eye on. But you were a person who shared a lot of resources or shared a lot of ideas, a lot of creativity with other people. You're a person who has a lot of talents. You liked a lot of intellectual stimulation. You'd be known as a person who realized in the end that they were at one with all that is. So you had a higher level of enlightenment. You might have been getting a lot of spiritual downloads. They would know you as a person who has a lot of spiritual insight or a lot of spiritual knowledge. You could be like a spiritual teacher, because it's connected to expansion with the Gemini, which is about sharing your talents and your arts, sharing these, using your abilities for the betterment of others. And so it's connected to enlightenment and expansion, as well as be bold and make the first move. So they would consider you as a bold person, a person who gets things started. You're not afraid to make the first step to get things going. Kind of like pile 2. They will also see you as a very encouraged. They will remember you as or you would be known. I keep saying it because maybe that's what it is, but you'd be known as a person who's very creative and very communicative. You'd also be known as a person who's very cooperative or very just relationship savvy, where you very much understand relationships and understand the understanding of give and take, fair give and take. All right. Now, you would also be a person who maybe juggled a lot of heartbreaks or have always felt misunderstood, maybe felt like you couldn't get what it was that you really wanted. You'd be known as that type of person. You'd be known as a person who maybe was alone in the end or learned to love themselves more. So maybe you got comfortable being alone. Maybe you just kept casual relationships or because the Two of Pentacles with the Three of Swords is, for me, is like juggling past heartbreaks, juggling past disappointments. And still with the King of Wands, this is still that energy of not getting what it was that you really wanted or not pursuing the things that you really wanted. So they might have you as that, as juggling between heartbreak and not going after the things you wanted, or juggling between heartbreak and feeling misunderstood or left out. So they might remember you as that type of person, but still as a very helpful and very inspiring type of person. Now, they might also know you as a music creator, or you might be known for your music. You might be known for your creative expression, because we have music and joy. So you might have just been a very happy-go-lucky type of person. So you would be known as that type of person. You'd be known as a person who has a very tender heart, very, very accepting, very forgiving, very free-flowing as well. Because with this be bold and make a move right next to expansion, this is like, you're a person to get it and go. You will probably be a person who is always on the move. You'll be known as that type of person. You'd be known as a person who is always on a journey of self-exploration or self-discovery. You'd be known as a person who is almost like a jokester, because I look at the Two of Pentacles as a jester sometimes, like a court jester. He's a joke sometimes. He's a player, not like a player, but he's like, he's a joker. He's just playing. He's here having fun. He's enjoying himself. So you'd be known as that type of person, very playful, very relationship friendly, very helpful, very curious, always having a lot of ideas, just buzzing around, just moving around easily. Like you'd be known as a person to get along with everyone. That's the type of person you'd be, a person who knows how to get along with everyone and makes use of their time, makes proper use of their time. Or it could be the other way around. Maybe you don't make proper use of your time. Maybe they see you as a person who just felt like they didn't have enough time, and that would be probably how you'd be remembered as well. But like I said, you definitely be remembered as a person who'd had a lot of critical thoughts or a lot of critical ideas about themselves, as a person who sometimes seen themselves as less than perfect. You just be a person who they would seem as you being very hard on yourself while very gentle and loving and nurturing and easy to get along with other people. So they would see you as that type of person. But they would see you as a protector as well as a person who's very resilient, or not resilient, very vigilant. Not resilient, but maybe resilient, Resilient had to show up because I just said it. So they would probably see you as a person who's very resilient as well as very vigilant, and very perceptive, very keen with the thoughts and the thinking and the communication, because all that is really showing up. You got swords, and we got Athens, and we have cross-pollinate and potential, and the enlightenment here with the crown chakra here. So this is you definitely having spiritual guidance for sure. So they would definitely see you as a person who's very enlightened and had a lot of spiritual insight. All right. Maybe in the end, some people who know you will know you as a person who learned to be more compassionate with themselves. Because I'm looking at it here with, dear child, you are safe and loved as you continue on your journey. And then you have, I love myself. So they will remember you as a person who really loved themselves. So maybe you went through stages where you felt like you weren't enough, as we all probably have. And there was a place where you might have felt like you were all alone, or you couldn't get the things you really wanted. And now or later on in life, you'll be known as a person who's okay with where they are. Like, basically understanding that they are all with one, or one with all. Like they are not alone, and that they are loved and cherished. Maybe because of the relationships you have or that you've built. But that's what you'll be known for, Pile 3. So, thanks for watching. This your boy Noonie, and it's Leo in the 3rd house. Boom. Pile 4. So, Pile 4, what will you be known for? Some project that you were working on that you might have not finished, but still being happy and grateful. You'll be remembered as a person who's very happy, very grateful, very joyous, very outgoing, hard worker, committed, reliable, stable, having a lot of principles. You are also a person who worked through a lot of hard times, a lot of tough issues, and came out on top. A person who learned how to let go and became very receptive. You'd be known as a person who has a lot of discernment. You know what? Because this pile went really fast compared to the other piles. Like this one was like clear cut, like no stumbling. So you were a person who was like straight to the point, very direct, very bold. Maybe sometimes indecisive, or lacking imagination, or lacking the desire to drive to make choices. You might have been that type of person, but we also have you as the Fool, which would make you very adventurous. And then we have bravery. So this would make you very adventurous, very much a person who goes out on limbs and leaps and tries new things. So you could be a Aries, Cancer, Capricorn. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So you could be one of those. You could be one of those signs. All right. But you'd be known about your principles and the way that you practice gratitude and how you're just so bubbly and happy and cheerful. You would also know when it was time to let go of things that were unfinished. You would be a person who puts a lot of work into projects, or was a person who was very creative, who had a lot of creative projects. You might have been known for music that you might once used to do, or music that you used to compose, or something like that. But you'd be known for like going through tough times and struggles and actually going through them, persevering. That's what the word I was looking for, persevering. But you'd also be known as a person who's very contentious as well. Who doesn't normally always fit into other people's box. You could be a person who learned a lot of discernment. A person who's very bossy, very judgy, very pushy. You might be also known as a person because, Queen of Wands can sometimes come off as jealous. All right. So you could come off as a person like that who's a bit jealous or even lacking confidence sometimes. You'd be known as a person who was very victorious, though, and moving forward, whether through hook or crook. When it's attached to this Queen of Wands with the Chariot, this is a person who pushes through with will. So it's like at all cost. I'm very pushy. I'm very determined. I have strong drive and strong intuition, and I don't really care who I hurt to get what it is that I want. That's kind of how you would come off. And as a person who's very risky, you'd come off as a gambler. You'd be known as a person who was a gambler, but who had great discernment. And whenever mistakes were made, you took full responsibilities. You'd also be known as a person who was more like a free spirit, or a person who's very open. You'd be very much a sexual person or a very creative person, because I got solar plexus and I have not crown chakra, I have sacral chakra, right? And so that's your sexuality or your creativity. And so you'd be very creative, but very when in terms of like, because you got appearance here too, so you'd be known as a person who was very attractive, very physically attractive, a person who went after their goals and their desires, at pretty much at like all cost. And they would know you as a person who always followed their natural tendencies, as a kind of like as a person who was a me, or me first, with this full energy and this Aries energy. They're the beginning of the zodiac, they're the baby. So I figured that this would be like, you would be a person who was out to get them theirs first. You're not afraid to take the leap, because we got bravery here twice. Now, some people might remind you as a person who never took responsibility or never took fault or blame for situations that didn't play out right. Some people would know you as a person that doesn't know how to let go, or that holds on to burdens that are not theirs. Some people would know you as a person who was very guarded, and some people would know you as a person whose heart was very open. Once you receive new information, people might have known you as that person who had a very open spirit, because some people, for the most part, what I got is happy. So a lot of people would naturally know you as an outgoing, very charismatic, warm type of person. Now, some people will also know you as, I guess, maybe in business, or when there's tension or stress, you'd be a person who's very pushy, very bossy, very brash, very, just harsh, and very strong-willed and stubborn to get what it is that you wanted, as well as being a bit reckless or a bit impulsive. They would know you as that type of person. They would know you as a person who was afraid of being judged, but in the end realized that they were good enough. A person who understands their true essence and their true potential. With this personality, with this first house, that's usually about your potential, your natural abilities, what you came into this world with, like your natural skills, what you learned as soon as you came to this earthly plane, how because Aries is like your first house is yourself, so it's like the babyhood of you. I want to say it's like it's part of your development years as well. I believe that's the truth. Don't quote me on that just yet, but I believe that's the truth. All right, but you're a person who they would be known as a person who stuck by like consistent methods, because Capricorn energy always gives me that energy of repeating things, like keeping regular structures going, holding on to what we consider is the right thing to do, structure and method. That'd be Capricorn energy. And because Cancer is on the other side of the axes, Cancer is similar to that as well, liking to keep the traditional beliefs going, liking to keep things going, structure, method, not wanting to go outside of the beaten path, but being able to, acquire things and being able to beat out obstacles by having strong morals and principles, and always practicing a sense of gratitude with every hurdle or every obstacle that you've encountered and overtaken. So you'd be known as that type of person who has fair judgment, or has good perception of judgment of character and judgment of situations in terms of risk, because they would see you as a risky person, yet patient, or maybe impatient, because Two of Wands could be impatient. So you could be an impatient type of person, very reckless, very impulsive, very headstrong, but very adventurous, and not afraid, very brave, very courageous, right? Yet very attractive and very temperamental, because the Queen of Wands would be temperamental, strong-willed, victorious, but, maybe even a person that people would see in some form of authority as well, yet having good discernment of who people are, because that's what judgment would be anyway, and knowing when to let go of situations that are no longer fulfilling you, and that would be based on your principles. So, yeah, that's what you would be remembered for, pile 4. I know that was kind of short, but that's just what I pretty much picked up. So, thank you. As always, thank y'all for watching me and for being here with me on this journey. It's your boy Noonie, and it's Leo in the 3rd house.